Welcome to Free Fiddle Lessons. Today we're going to learn a tune called the Irish Washerwoman. It's an Irish jig, and it's a very widely heard tune, to the distress of some. Not everybody loves this tune, but it's a common one, and a lot of people do know it. It can be a useful tune to know. I think some of us have heard it in a few too many, beginner band arrangements and things like that. It can lose some of its luster. But here's what it sounds like. It's a jig in the key of G. So we're in the key of G. And I think, the thing that can make this tune difficult is that it's so many eighth notes. There's very little rest and very little variation in terms of how you typically hear the tune in the rhythm. So that's something that you can explore when you're trying to make it your own. But the other thing I think is, because of that, very important, is to really pay attention to your accenting, as we've talked about in some of the jig slurring. Actually, no, I'm not sure if I've done an actual video on those, but in some of the office hours, I know I talked about emphasis in jigs. So at the very least, trying to get a good accent on the beginning of each of the groups of three will help this tune be a little less static than if it's just all the notes are the same. So again, here is the first phrase. One more time. Second phrase. So we start and end on C natural. And then we're back to the first phrase, but let's put the first two together. So the third phrase is the same as the first. And the ending And when we're going back into the A part, we have pickup notes. And you'll hear people sometimes play those at the very beginning as well. So let's actually do that this time. We'll play the whole time through the A part. We'll start with these two pickup notes, D and C natural, and then heading to the B. Ending. And now when we go to the B part, we have a high G for a pickup note as well as for the first note of the B part. And so we do that in place of the D and the C natural pickup notes. And because we have just one note as a pickup for the B part, we do have to hold the note before it, the G on the D string, a little bit longer. So the first ending sounds like this, all eighth notes. Back into the A part. The second ending going to the B part has one longer note, a quarter note at the very end, like this. And then goes into the B part. So you can hear that longer note at the very end of the second A part. Okay, looking at the phrases for the B part, we have a distinct pattern for the first two phrases, and it's going to involve going back and forth between the E and the A string. So it might be helpful to practice going back and forth if that's still something that's uncomfortable for you. Also, this pattern is a little funny because we're going to be going E string, A string, E string, E string, A string, E string, so doubling up on the E string notes. When we add the actual fingers, they're G and D. So that's the first phrase, starting on G. And it's much more efficient if you can keep those fingers down rather than picking them up each time. That's a lot more movement, especially in this phrase where we're staying just on those two notes. So first phrase one more time. Now the same pattern with F sharp and D. Let's do the second phrase again. Now the third phrase has its own pattern. So it's a descending thing, always coming back to the high G. E to D to C. That's the tricky one because you have to rock your finger across. So let's do those again. E, D. Here's the rock, C, and a B. And then we have the same ending as the A part. So let's put that whole B part together now. Starts with a G going to D. Oh, actually, let's do it with a pickup note. So a double G. Now the descending. Ending. And again, if we're going back into the B part, we'll play a G pickup note with a longer before it, and if we're going into the A part, we'll use the D and the C natural and have all eighth notes. So one thing I did want to mention is that in that descending part, the third phrase of the B part, where I said you rock, I realized as I was playing that really what I do on this occasion is I'm coming back to the G for each of the notes, and then I actually pick the finger up and place it on both strings for the C to G. So I'll do that phrase again.